Astral Guardian sleeping deep beneath the surface of Cray, and heeding the call of the great Kamui, and bringing order to this battlefield, Beast Deity Azure Dragon! Let's ride! Alright guys, a couple things I want to get out of the way before we get this video started. First of all, yes, I will be making a Beast Deity Azure Dragon deck profile today, and no, it does not have any perfect racers in it whatsoever, so definitely be ready for this deck. Also, I want to give a couple shout outs here to my boy Rodney, aka Based Crit. He is the one that kind of made this deck and also is letting me borrow his account so that way I can make this profile for you guys, because I myself do not actually own any Azure Dragons, so I wouldn't be able to make this profile, but I love the deck that he made over on Twitter, and I really want to show it to you guys and talk about this deck. Rodney is also a member of the Cardfight Vision crew, and if you guys don't know who they are, they're basically a group of people that try and support Cardfight Vanguard. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to Rodney's Twitter, as well as the Cardfight Vision website down in the description. Definitely go check them out if you guys haven't already. They're an awesome group of dudes, and they're doing some amazing work. But guys, if you are excited to see this brand new deck profile here on the channel and want to see more videos like this in the future, please be sure to let me know that by leaving a like on this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking that bell for notifications, so that way you guys know when my videos go live for you. I think something like 70% of you guys who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed, so just know that I post videos at least 3 times a week, and I try to do all kinds of Cardfight Vanguard and Cardfight Vanguard Zero content, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely consider subscribing. It's always an option. But with all that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and look at this deck list and see why I love it so much. Alright guys, here we are in the deck builder. Now as you can see, Rodney has named this deck Anti-Meta, and I will explain why it is named that right now. So here's the list, guys. Really quickly, I want to get this out the way. There are no razors in this deck at all. This is a pure Beast Deity Azure Dragon. It's kind of like a good stuff Nova's list, but with some really key tech cards to try and control for the meta, but also just try and have the deck be as aggressive, but also as advantageous as possible. So first things first, the main grade 3 we got here is Beast Deity Azure Dragon. Really simple skill. Vanguard, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, Persona Blast to stand 2 of your rear guards. Really, really powerful effect. We have cards like Black Tortoise and Scarlet Bird that let us look at the top 5 cards for Azure Dragon when they hit a Vanguard, so this allows us to kind of dig for those Persona Blast pieces. Another thing to keep in mind too is that these cards do put cards on the bottom of the deck. They don't shuffle, so we kind of have like a mini Tsukuyomi thing going on here where we can actually stack our deck. So I got the handy dandy notepad right here because we're going to be taking notes today, because this deck is kind of not really that aggressive. It actually tries to play more in a tempo-based advantage type playstyle, which allows you to get to the point where you have this stack, because both these cards, like let you look at the top 5 cards, you can dig a lot with this deck, and you have cards like Kira 2 to help you manipulate your stack towards the very end of the game, so you can actually manipulate triggers really well with this deck. So making sure you know what your stack is actually does pay off. For all you Tsukuyomi players out there, this might be the Nova deck for you. Moving on, we have a nice little support cast here of grade 3s. We have the 4 Ashura Kaiser, the 4 Miss Splendor, and the 1 Cosmo Lord. The 4 Miss Splendor is a really good just attacker to have in the deck because she can ignore intercepts. So if your opponent is at like 5 damage, you can just kind of like call double Miss Splendors and swing at their faceplate to force out any PGs or force them to, like, you know, take the damage if they only have intercepts left. So she's a really nice way to kind of end the game. Her plus like a Dancing Wolf column on the turn where you go for Azure Dragon to restand is actually really powerful. So this is a neat little attacker to have in the deck. Not really like a secret weapon, but it's a nice little mini way to force damage out on your opponent when maybe they didn't expect it. Alright guys, moving on to my favorite thing about this deck, the grade 2s, specifically for Boomerang Thrower. This is basically nerfed Tejas, but for Novas, okay? So this is, his effect is, this unit can attack units in the back row. Vanguard only. So if I ride this card, I can swing at Vanguard boosters. What are the most popular Vanguard boosters? Wingall Brave, Conroe, the occasional Airmo maybe. If you win second, your opponent got to actually achieve their Conroe first. This card is why this deck is anti-meta, because you can just chase the Wingall Braves. So this allows you to take control over the way people play in the game right now over on Ranked. So you can get rid of advantage engines, you can get rid of pesky boosters, and it's honestly super cool. Another cool thing is that it lets you actually call down an unboosted Tortoise most of the time to then hit the Vanguard, because you're not actually swinging at the Vanguard first, you're swinging at a rearguard first, so they're not going to take damage. So this plus Black Tortoise on like your turn 2 is like your ideal play. You get to get rid of a unit and dig for a +1 and stack your deck. It's honestly so crazy how much this deck can actually gain advantage over your opponent. It's honestly insane. Next up, we have the 4 Kiraras as well as the 1 Brutal Jack. These are just good Nova cards to play in. You can maybe cut into the Kirara for a second Jack if you really want to, but I think Rodney and I are in agreement that like Kirara is really nice because it's the only card that really counterblasts in the deck, besides Jack, I guess. So this is like your 5 counterblasting cards that let you just like gain advantage or have really good consistency. Plus, the ability to kind of, again, manipulate your stack with Kirara in the late game is pretty nice. And then finally, we have the grade 1s. So this might look like a weird grade 1 lineup here. We have the 4 Dancing Wolf and the 4 Scarlet Bird. The 4 Scarlet Bird basically is the grade 1 version of Tortoise. This is our best ride if we're going second, but also it could be a good attacker. Like I've been known to call like a double grade 1 column, swing with it, and then swing again. A really cool thing too to note is that if you boost this thing with Dancing Wolf, swing at a rear guard, then hit with Azure Dragon and restand, it's actually a 16k column that can help you dig and use your stack. So calling this card as a rear guard and like attacking with it in the front row isn't actually the worst thing in the world, and its effect does work Vanguard rear guard, so that's really awesome. A good thing to keep in mind. Dancing Wolf, if you guys don't know, when this unit stands during your battle phase, it gets power plus 3k, so basically it'll become a 10k booster after you hit with Azure Dragon. This is like our main way to fix columns as well as deal extra damage in the late game. And then finally we have the 4 PGs and then the 1 of Death Army guy. Basically this is in here for the same reasons that like Ashura Kaiser, Cosmo Lord, or Brutal Jackson here. It's just like a really generically good Nova Grappler card. Plus in like the very late game, if you're trying to like push for damage, this card's really nice with White Tiger because basically it's like another column that you can restand if you get a trigger plus a White Tiger proc. So it allows you to basically restand your whole board sometimes if you get that trigger. So having this 1-of copy here is just like a nice little tech card to play in. If you see it, it's great. If you don't see it, it really doesn't matter. The ideal like board state in terms of boosters is like, you know, White Tiger, and then you have like a Dancing Wolf, and then like this other card could be like whatever it is. It may as well be an army guy, right? So having the 1-of in here is really nice. I wouldn't play more, I wouldn't play less. You can make this a shout, you can make this a tough boy, it really doesn't matter. I personally, and I think Rodney too, agrees that Death Army guy is just like generically the best thing you can play. The reasons why these cards are good isn't because they support Beast Deities, it's because they support this kind of advantageous good stuff Nova Grappler list, which is basically what this is. So you can call this a Beast Deity Azure Dragon deck, but really it's just a good stuff Nova's list that tries to counter the meta of MLB, Dote, and Shadow Paladins. That's really what this deck is, and it uses Azure Dragon to achieve that, because unlike Perfect Razor, that has to play like a lot of Razor cards that aren't really that good at like dealing damage to really defensive cards or really hit good rearguard numbers and allow you to kind of make the game last a long time, this deck basically is designed to get to the late game state where you're allowed to just go, okay, if I restand a whole column, you're gonna die. So that's what Azure Dragon lets you do. That's what this deck lets you accomplish, and I think the best starter to also go along with this is White Tiger. You could arguably play Battle Razor and it would work just fine. The reason why I don't think you do is because having this extra ability in the late game to push for that last damage you might need is really good. Because there are moments where, like, if you'll have like multiple copies of Azure Dragon in your hand, you'll actually call one, swing with it, and then restand it using White Tiger, say if your opponent's at 4 damage. So you can go rearguard, swing, Vanguard, swing, stand 2 columns essentially, and then have 2 more attacks. That kind of play isn't possible unless you either ride a Ashura Kaiser and get lucky, or if you have a card like White Tiger. Really quickly, the best things going for this deck right now, I think, are its ability to kind of surprise people. No one knows what your plan is. No one knows that Boomerang Thrower is coming on turn 2. Nobody knows that, and this allows you to kind of play the game you want to play and basically take control of the game state from the very get-go. And having that kind of surprise factor is really nice to see in this meta that I feel, and a lot of other people feel, is like really stale and kind of not fun. And I think this is like a perfect deck to play with on ranked, and I really recommend if you have your Azure Dragons to play with this deck, because honestly it's so much fun, you guys. I cannot wait to show you guys some games in just a second. But yeah guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about the deck. I really am enjoying it. I think it's a really cool deck right now and brings a lot of breadth and excitement into the ranked ladder format right now for Vanguard Zero. If you guys like this deck and are getting any value from this video, please be sure to slam that like button and comment down below another deck that maybe you guys have thought of or you've seen that you think is kind of like this, where it's like a spicy, kind of techie, really interesting deck that not a lot of people are aware of, or better yet, that a lot of people kind of underestimate. Let me know. I would love to see those kinds of lists down in the comments below. But enough jibber jab. Let's go ahead and see how this deck does on the ranked ladder. Alright guys, here we are for our first game against Shadow Paladins. Okay, I would say of all the big 3 decks, Shadow Paladins is like our worst matchup because not only do they have like rearguard retire, but they also like pressure us a lot, which could be really hard if we don't actually draw our PGs. I'm going to choose to actually ditch the Azure Kaiser because we have so many ways to search for grade 3s in this deck that honestly it's no big deal to return grade 3s because the more triggers you have in your deck means the more like likely you are to like not neg from like taking away your Azure Dragon, because the worst part about this deck I think is like it's really awkward to kind of feel like what's a good play, because like being forced to like take a trigger out of your deck in order to advance your combo kind of feels really bad, but I promise it's really good. So I'm going to, and in my turn, had we gone second right now and gotten 2 turns of digging for the grade 3, we could cycle like 10 cards to the bottom of our deck, we could cycle like 10 cards to the bottom of our deck and get like a lot of value from that, which is like super cool. But 1 turn without Scarlet Bird's fine. I might have actually wanted to hold on to it and push for more damage, but I feel like this was the best play, just to go super consistent, nothing crazy. Ah, there goes the tech. My opponent knows. This is like the one matchup where this tech is kind of like useless because there's nothing really important for us to snipe behind our opponent's Vanguard. I'm going to choose to ride Brutal Jack here, try and force more out of my opponent in order to deal damage. And I think that's going to be okay, because if I don't get the grade 3 this turn off of Black Tortoise, it's kind of going to be okay because I went first, so I have more time before I need to actually be ready to attack my opponent's Vanguard. Obviously, I'd rather, you know, see it now than not see it at all, but let's see what happens. I'll swing with the Tortoise first because Jack gets the plus 5k, so he's guaranteed to hit even if my opponent gets a defensive trigger, so it's no big deal. Go Tortoise. All right, Azure Dragon, come to me. I'm ready to take notes as well. And no Azure Dragon, but a draw trigger does go to the bottom of the deck, so there is that. So 5 cards. There's a draw trigger. Give me a grade 3. Do it. Oh, Azure Dragon, baby. He found a way, team. He found a way back home. All right, so I'm going to quickly take some notes here as to what cards are at the bottom of the deck. All right, so we have a draw trigger. It was our first card. A 2, a 1, a 2, and a 2. Man, I never thought I'd be taking notes for a Nova Grappler deck. I'll tell you what, this is definitely the most big brain I've ever thought when playing Nova Grapplers, and that's super fun, man. Having a big brain Nova deck is pretty exciting. Now, I did deal 2 damage to my opponent, so if they ride Blaster Dark here, they actually don't. So my opponent is not only whiffed their Ride Chain, but they whiffed their Blaster Dark, which means they're not going to have any good defensive power on their next turn. Plus, keep this in mind too, guys, he needs boosters if he can hit Brutal Jack. So, there we go. Okay, so he's got the board here. He might not... Okay, he's got a lot of boosters. Okay. I would love to top deck a grade 2, hopefully, preferably a Tortoise. Or, I wouldn't mind a Kira either. But I'd want to be at like 3 damage before that. So I think I will call this Dancing Wolf column because frankly, I see no reason not to. Ah, there's the Tortoise I wanted, boo. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Tortoise or Kira would have been really nice here. A 3rd PG. Well, at least I'm drawing PGs, you know? So like if I have useless cards in my hand, I'd rather they be PGs versus like 3 heal triggers, right? So I'm feeling pretty good here. I don't mind doing this. I wish you were Beast Deity Dancing Wolf. That'd be so busted right now. Wouldn't that be cool if like Beast Deity Dancing Wolf was a card? That'd be pretty fun. Fun fact, in the future, we are going to get a card called Golden Anglet, which literally is a grade 2 that has the same effect as Dancing Wolf, and it's a Beast Deity. So you can restand that card a lot in Beast Deities, and it gets like super powerful. So later on, when Illuminal Dragon and that stuff comes out for, I think, set 9-ish, I think, in the JP meta, we'll see just how good those cards are. And oh my god, my opponent being forced to ride the Bibe car. This is not their game, Chief. People always saying how Shadows is like the most consistent deck ever. Well, guess what, team? Not today, it isn't. Wow, and they're even calling the PGs? Not that PGs are like this. Oh, another cool thing that I don't think I mentioned in the deck profile is that this deck does not care about PGs. You can have all of them in the world, team. If you're at 4 damage, I can kill you. If you're at 5 damage, I will hella kill you because I can restand cards a lot. And if they're at 5 damage, you know, and I'm doing 3 attacks, I don't care. Because Miss Splendor can, you know, dodge intercept, so I can just like force damage against them if they don't have the PGs in their hand, which is super cool. So he's going to push us to 4 damage here, which is a bit scary, but I have 3 PGs in my hand, so I'm not too worried. Wow, we have so many triggers in our deck, you guys. So we're going to trigger like crazy this turn. I can see it. I can see it happening. Again, I'm just going to call this here. There's no real reason to do anything else. Again, if I had a tortoise in my hand right now, guys, you know, even if I had a bird in my hand, I could go bird, hit, get the Azure Dragon, swing, hit, resend the column, and then attack at a rear guard. Such a good play if I could have done that, but we can't, so it's chill. I'll swing like this first. If I get a trigger, I want to have the rear guard hit, and there's a heal trigger. Thank you, Miss Splendor, for being awesome. I like how the Miss Splendor in the real game and the Miss Splendor in V-Series had very similar effects. The V-Series one was obviously way more busted because it allowed all your heroes to ignore intercept, but, you know, it's nice to see them kind of keeping a formula when it comes to the hero cards. So far, my opponent has been, you know, like, their draws haven't been too good, but their board's pretty aggressive compared to ours. Like, if we each had full boards right now, I think I'd be in a state already where I could win the game if I had a Persona Blast in my hand. But you know what? 3 PGs is pretty nice, so I'll take it. My opponent might just try and force damage this turn too, unless I get some, you know, defensive triggers or something. So let's see what they're gonna choose to do here. Oh, I bet you they just, okay, so like they're thinking right now, I bet you they drew a grade 3 and they're like, should I ride this? Yeah, I knew it, I knew it. That's like, whenever you see someone taking their time, they're thinking about something really hard. I love that. Okay, swing at the rear guard. I don't mind that play. I mean, it makes sense to me. They're probably gonna use Dark Dictator's effect next turn to try and win the game, their rear guard one. Which I don't mind. That's actually a really cool play. But I have 3 PGs again, and they're not playing stand triggers, so we'll get another turn regardless. So the real question is, can they survive on the next turn? My guess is no. My guess is, like, the turn after, I should say. Not like the next turn, the turn after. It doesn't even matter how much board I have. We already know they're down a PG. They probably don't have more than 2 in their hand. And there's another draw trigger for us, so that's super huge. And there's the Beast Deity Azure Dragon. So even if I don't get another great, okay, so this is perfect. So, and they're a 10k Vanguard too, right? Cool. Oh my god, they're a 10k Vanguard. That's so cool. So yeah, if they don't get a defensive here, I think I can win the game either this turn or next turn, which is super hot. So Miss Splendor will go hit for 17. That'll hit, obviously. No defensives. Ah, they got it. Ooh, but they whipped the heal, though, so I'm kind of cool with it. All I need is 1 trigger here, and I can actually... Well, so... okay, so it actually doesn't matter. But, ooh, there's that. Okay, that's cool, so I can hit, which is nice. If they PG this, it's fine, but next turn I can kind of, like, guarantee the game. I think I misplayed there, but, like... So, like, I didn't misplay there if they had, like, grade 2s, for example, because I would have just swung, boosted at the grade 2, then swung at their Vanguard, then reached for 20, and would have been the same thing. But next turn, all I need to do is get 3 attacks, and I think I guarantee win the game, because now they're out of heal triggers, and they only have maximum 2 PGs left, so I can have 3 attacks against their Vanguard. If they let me keep my Miss Splendor, then I can just hit them, which is pretty cool. Let's see if they use their attack to retire my rear guards. I would definitely retire my Wolf if I was them, and then attack the rear guard. But because I do have 3 PGs in my hand, but my opponent might not know that. But I do have 3 PGs in my hand, which is super cool. So like this game was pretty much decided by me just having PGs and not taking too much damage. Hopefully the next game I'll get to show off kind of more so how the deck tries to grind out a victory. Sure, I'm doing it here. Also, my opponent should have used their Counterblast 2 to retire a card. I don't know why they didn't. They kind of just like replace their unit for no reason. That's a misplay for sure. But whatever. So they're just gonna swing. Okay, no big deal. Are they gonna use their Persona Blast? Well, actually, they might not be able to, because why would they? They do have it. How do they have this? Wait. How do they have 2 PBOs in their hand but not ride a PBO at all yet? What? Did they choose to ride 5 car over PBO? That's not the wave, I don't think, Chief. I would always ride PBO no matter what. Why would you not just ride PBO whenever you had an extra one? Having 2 is weird, because did they get a draw trigger last turn that I didn't know about, and then they just drew another one? That had to be what happened, but I don't think I remember seeing a draw trigger, but whatever. Whatever, to each their own. Playing Vanguard's playing Vanguard. By the way, Miss Splendor can ignore that intercept. Watch me just draw like another Miss Splendor. Oh, never mind. It's my heal trigger. My Psycholia is working in reverse, apparently. It's doing my damage checks versus my top decks. Are you going to attack my Vanguard? I don't know why you wouldn't. Watch him attack Miss Splendor because he's so afraid of it. He's so afraid of Miss Splendor, you can totally tell. Oh, okay, good. He attacked my Vanguard. Yay, I get to keep my Splendor. I might call this Azure Dragon in my hand, because my opponent's Vanguard's 11k now, so I won't be able to restand for numbers with Miss Splendor. So I don't think there's a reason to not call this to the board. 2 cards in their hand. If those 2 cards are their PGs, they do win. But if I call it... So, like, actually, it doesn't matter. You know, I called the Kagero here, actually. And the reason for this is because it doesn't matter. I need to swing at the rear guard anyway for my Vanguard to swing. So I'm going to swing like this first. I could have just swung with Splendor and then, like, you know, force up the card. But I want to dig through my deck, maybe draw some more defensive cards. I drew that, which is a little annoying, but it's okay. I'm going to swing like this first. Okay, cool, never mind. They don't even have a PG in their hand. They can't heal, so that's GG. right there. Good game. That was the first game with this deck. You guys could see how it kind of flowed. That game was more of a defensive game because I started with 2 PGs in my hand and I just like couldn't call down rear guards, but it ended up being the reason why we won because regardless, I was able to build enough aggression to where I pushed the game to a good state where I could win the game. Hopefully in the next game I can show off like more so how the deck just tries to naturally flow and naturally gain advantage versus just like having all your defense right out of the bat. Alright guys, here we are for game 2. We're fighting against Kagero. Okay, this will let me... Oh my god, Sweet Mango? Could this be... No, this isn't Juan Mango. He'd be Juan Mango, I think. But please, let me snipe a combo with this boy, with Boomerang Thrower. Okay, we're going second. I'll return the Death Army guy and keep the rest, so that way I can use Bird to hopefully search for my grade 3. And there's the Tortoise and another Bird, so we can definitely search for a grade 3 this turn if we need to. We're actually fighting against Amber Dragons. Oh man, no Conroe sniping, that hurts my heart. But we are fighting against probably another good version of the deck here. Would this actually be worse than Dote? This could arguably be worse because losing our rear guards is like the worst thing ever, but Dote retires a lot less than other Kagero decks that have existed, so it's less of a big deal, but this might be a little scary, I guess. But I just won't commit too much then, is like the thing. I just won't commit too much that maybe I would have used to commit. Okay, getting ready to write down my stack. Hopefully it'll be 4 cards and not 5. And there's the Azure Dragon, baby. Added to our hand, so there's 5 cards at the bottom of our deck. Let's go to this, let's go to the view log. Alright, so we had a drive check of, what was our drive check? It was a grade 2, so we have a grade 2, and then we have 4 as a draw, a 2, a 1, and a 1, a PG. A 2, a 1, and a PG. So there's 5 cards, currently 26 cards away from our stack. Boom, got it. They're doing the the Amber Dragon thing, not the Azure Dragon thing. Have I been saying Azure Dragon this whole time? Let me know in the comments. Amber equals Azure. That is the comment command of the day. That's the call to action. Type Amber equals Azure because my mouth might not work. Probably not though. Don't type that. I'm just being stupid. But if you want to, go ahead. I'll know why you did it. I'll know why. Yeah, just a pretty simple, consistent. My opponent's rushing me, which is interesting. This might bite them in the butt. And I'll explain why, because, well, I have a really good way to kind of counter all this, because my hand is full of 3 grade 2s that are really strong right now. Letting me counter blast 2 for Kirara and use a Tortoise Dig in the same turn is pretty, I mean, it's just going to be nice for us. Alright, so I think I'll choose to ride Boomerang Thrower, so that way I can keep the Tortoise around. I have the Wolf to boost it, so it's no big deal. Yeah. And then I'll swing Boomerang Thrower at the Lava Flow. Yeah. So we're currently 22 cards away from the stack. We'll be 21 and then 16 away after we use this potentially, maybe even more. I'll use this. Okay, now we're 21 away. After this, we'll be 20 away. And then if that was a grade 2. And then we're going to go ahead and go 15 to the Vanguard, activating our skill to search again. They get a crit. Oh, they're playing crit Kagero with Amber Dragons? That's why they're being aggressive, by the way. Ooh, another one, plus another Azure Dragon, but also 3 PGs. So we now know that we have 0 PGs in our deck, which is great. It's just fabulous. But we do have double Azure Dragon, which is nice. All right, so let's see what's at the bottom of this deck here. Yeah, so it's another draw. And then 3 PGs. So all of our PGs are at the bottom. Let's see how we'll deal with this, not being able to stop any attacks. We're also out of grade 2s as well, which could be very, very bad for us. But my opponent's hand is very, very light. So if I just control his board this turn, we might get away with a turn of like no damage at all. Plus we have all of our heal triggers in our deck. In the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. There's no heal triggers there. So we could very well see some heal triggers in the coming future here. So I'm not too worried right now, but I'm a little bit scared. A little bit scared. This is more like this is the worst thing probably when it comes to like these stack decks or these like manipulating decks is that you can just like learn like, oh yeah, all my good stuff's at the bottom, so we got to get there like fast. So I think I will be calling birds to the front row just to accelerate the stack and get back to our PGs as fast as we can because they are that important. So they went ahead and used their counter blast, so we will probably lose the Dancing Wolf this turn, which I'm fine with. I'll just call a column of birds and then we'll party. And ooh, a stand. So he is just playing mega aggressive Kagero. Stands and crits. Okay, what's this? This is a draw. Okay, so he's probably playing like 3 to 4 draw, and then the rest are stands and crits. So it's rainbow triggers. So it's rainbow triggers Kagero. Okay, that's cool. Rainbow triggers Kagero. 14 cards away from the stack. Always keep that in mind. There's the heal trigger that I was talking about, so that's good to see. Gives me more hope that we'll survive the next turn, especially if I just harass these rear guards right now. We'll be more than fine. This is grade 2, a really good grade 2 to draw. So we're going to go ahead and ride the Azure Dragon. By the way, of all the animations that are just screen grabs in the anime, that's a really good one. That's a really good screen grab, if you ask me. He let me keep my wolf, which I'm very interested by. I'm more confused, really, than anything. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just do a column. Oh, actually, there's no reason to, because I'm not going to be able to... Oh, no, that's a grade 3. But I want to attack his rear guard, so we're just going to call this and not overcommit and get punished by this. So, yeah, this will be fine. So I'll attack this, I'll attack that, and then I'll attack his Vanguard. If I get a heal trigger and we get even up on damage, that's going to be super great for us. Alright, so now that's another 2, and then there's the heal trigger, so that's hot. So now we're officially... What's that make us? 9 cards away from the stack? No, yeah, 9 cards. This is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so now we're 10 cards away from the stack. This will make us potentially 6 cards away. Oh, I was like, oh no, they got to heal. No, they whiffed it. They whiffed theirs. We did not whiff ours. And there's another Azure Dragon. Wow. All right. Okay, so now we're 5 cards away from our stack, which is super fun. Let me go ahead and do the loggy thing here. There's got to be a faster way to get down to the bottom, but I guess there's not. All right, draw, 2 and 2. That's a little awkward, but it's okay. But now we got all the Azure Dragons in the world, so now we can start being a bit more aggressive, which will be super nice. But let's see if my opponent can mount any aggression. So that heal trigger was super nice for us. We're officially 5 cards away from a draw trigger, basically, into a PG. So yeah, the note-taking is so far going very well. Let's see what my opponent wants to do. They're going to call up the Dawn, and then they're... Oh, a Heat Nail. That could be very bad. Oh, good. We made them whip their counterblast, so that's super huge. But my board is definitely going to get cleared this turn, but luckily I have my entire hand basically is cards that I would not mind committing at all, so pretty okay there. Another heal trigger. Guys, when I said that my deck was mainly just heals left, I meant it. Okay, we have a very good chance to always heal, so there you go. Depending on how I play this turn, I can actually get to my stack right away. But I'm going to do some quick math and figure out how many triggers are left in my deck besides the ones that are in the bottom. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in our stack right now. We have 5, 6, 7 in our hand, and we've seen 5 more. So there's only 1 trigger in these top 4 cards. I think I'm cool with playing for it, actually, so I think I will. I will play for it, yeah. Yeah, we didn't see it. Ooh, but we did get that. Okay, that's kind of fun. This will be kind of cool. So I have double Azure Dragon in my hand. So I'm going to call Miss Slender. I'm going to call Skylar Bird. I'm going to call Death Army Guy. And I'm going to call you. The only column that I think is worth standing up is our rear guard column. Yeah, because once again, I'm not really about forcing damage this turn. I could literally care less. Oh, wait, no, I hit with Scarlet Bird. I made a misplay, but it's okay. I think it's cool. Yeah, so there's the draw trigger that I whipped out on. But now, okay, I just saw the grade 2, so now I should get a draw trigger here. There it is. Cool. Okay, everything works out. We won't be able to hit him again if we Actually, will I? I could restand both these, actually, which would be pretty cool. So if I get another trigger, which I think is impossible, because the next card's going to be a 1. Yep, and it was a PG, actually, so that's annoying. And then these cards all went to the bottom. Is it even worth it? I mean, I don't think it's not worth it, right? He's at 21. I'll restand for 18. I'll hit the rear guard. He'll have only those cards in his board. Like, it might be worth it, I think, just to maximize our ability to not die next turn. Let's do it. I don't think I lose anything by doing this. I sure don't gain anything, but I don't think I lose anything, which I think is the big deal for me. Now, if he went from 4 to 5 and only had the 1 defensive, it would have been super huge, but, you know, it's less important like this. But now we're at our stack, so it means we're going to be getting to our PGs really soon, and we're only at 3 damage. So I don't think there's any world where we lose this game right now, given how like aggressive my opponent's been this entire game. But this is definitely like the way you guys can see how this deck plays. It's not really like an aggression-based Nova deck, it's definitely is like more an advantageous based Nova deck. Like I didn't get any PGs in my hand this game, so I had to like work around, try and outplay my opponent and just get a better board presence than them. Had this been Dote and they could have naturally increased their board presence, it might have been a different story. But as of right now, it's not really a big deal. That crit's a big deal though. If I no, I'm guaranteed to live even if I don't get a defensive because they're only 19 and not 22. But there's the PG, so now we're literally just gonna draw PGs now. Like literally just draw PGs. Like the next 2 cards are PGs, which is hilarious to me. Like that's just funny. I find that just funny. They better swing at my rearguard Splendor, otherwise I think they're dead. Oh no, they're gonna swing at that because oh no, they're using Amber Dragon's effect. I'm stupid. Why not get rid of the army guy? The army guy is kind of free, but all right, whatever. A board clear. This is cool with me. I was gonna call the tortoise anyway. So we're gonna draw PG here. Boom, knew it. I'm gonna go ahead and ride skip. Do I call this Azure Dragon? There's no point, right? Yeah. It's the same thing if I just keep it to restand. And I'm going to get a PG and a 2 this turn, so there's no point for me to kind of play for anything. I could, like, cycle 5 cards, but that'll cycle all my draw triggers, so not really worth it. I may as well just go like this, and then swing, hit them. If they get the heal trigger, they get the heal trigger. I don't think there's a world where we die because they can only get 2 attacks. However, they are playing stand triggers, so they could, like, stand trigger kill us if they get a miracle heal here, which would be annoying, but that's all it would be is annoying. So let's see. No heal trigger, which means we win the game. All right, I'm going to try and play one more game because that one went really fast. So let's play one more game with this deck because honestly, I'm having a lot of fun right now, and I want to show off a game against, hopefully, MLB so I can freaking snipe on Wingull Brave already. I haven't sniped anything all day, and it's so frustrating. Alright guys, here we are for our final game. We're fighting against, Spike Brothers. Okay, you know what? It may not be Wingull Brave, it may not be Conroe or Aramo, but I will be able to snipe something in this game with Boomerang Throw, which honestly was the one thing that I wanted to do today. And honestly, this hand's super cool. I'll hang on to... I'll return this. I have the bird in my hand. We're going second, so I'll return that, be a little bit greedy, and it might have paid off because this is a pretty good hand if I can get the Azure off the search with Scarlet Bird, so looking really solid to me. Let me go ahead and get my notes ready here. All right, there's the Mecha Trainer, and guess what? That thing's gonna die. So at least I'll be able to show off how busted Boomerang Thrower is. By the way, a thing that I got wrong in the deck profile that I just realized is I said that like calling the grade 0 to like the rear guard circle behind instead of behind the Vanguard was like a way you can counter this card. You actually can't. He can attack any unit in the back row. It does not need to be like Tejas where it's like opposite him. It can be any unit in the back row. That was my mistake. Given that I have the tortoise and another bird in my hand, I'm actually going to choose to pass. I'm actually going to make the executive decision to pass. And the reason for this is that I don't want to use Mecha Trainer, and I really want to just kill it, because they will search for a PG versus like an Aramo, or like just have the Wingull Brave stay there. So I'm going to choose to pass, and I'll kill it in the next turn. That's definitely what we're going to do. For sure. It's normally like really good if you go first, obviously, but I went second here, so it's no big deal. There's the Panther, and my opponent actually wrote an 8k Vanguard, which is so huge for us, which means I do not have to actually boost my tortoise to kill it, which will be to attack it, which will be super nice. So I'll be able to dig for my Azure Dragon a little bit more. And now my opponent's going to aggress us a little bit, no big deal. Ooh, good draw trigger. Into a great thing. So now if I don't get the Azure Dragon, it's no big deal. I have a Shurikaiser, and we're good to go. There's another one. Okay. So now we're going to ride Boomerang Thrower. I think the ideal column setup is going to be calling the Tortoise here, calling the Wolf here, and then calling the Scarlet Bird here. We're going to go ahead and swing at the rear guard, swing at the back row rear guard, and then swing at the Vanguard using the Tortoise. Boom. That's all she wrote. Ooh, no, that's an Azure Dragon gone. That's not good. And also a way for us to whip. But getting another Wolf is really nice. Especially in this matchup where, like, Splendor boosted by Wolf that restored actually hits 20k. And their boss, Vanguard's at 10k. So we can hit really good numbers against them, even if they get defensives, which is super cool for us. And there's the Azure Dragon, baby. So we're Gucci, fam. We are officially good to go. I think I saw a heal trigger go to the bottom as well. So I'm just go ahead and double check that. We got a 1, a 2, a heal, and a 2. That's our stack right now. We're 4 cards away, so we're 21 away. There is the dude, and they got the Dan regardless of the Mecha Trainer, but do they have the PG in their hand to back it up? Or do they have the board to try and aggress us this turn? Because I think if they don't call too aggressive of a board here, we can be, like, really good on the next turn. So there's double grade 2, which is good for them. Do I ride a Shurikaiser here? versus Azure Dragon. Like, what do I gain from running Azure Dragon this turn? I actually don't know yet. Well, there's another Assure Kaiser. That's all my draw. That's a lot of my draw triggers gone, which is frustrating, but it's okay. My opponent needs to hit a trigger here in order to hit us. Let's see if they do it. They do. That's a little annoying, but it's okay. Being forced to 4 this early is not that great. A really bad thing about the Spikes matchup right now that I'm realizing is that, like, the way this deck tries to win is try to, you know, advantage out and try and slow down your opponent a little bit whilst being aggressive in the late game. This deck, Spike Brothers, you kind of can't stop it from doing what it wants to do, especially if it gets, like, lucky enough. Given that I don't have the ability... I double Miss Splendor, though. You know what? I'm going to be a bit crazy here. I'm going to be a little crazy. I'm going to ride Assure Kaiser. I'm going to call Miss Splendor. I'm going to call both of them. Actually, no. I'll hang on to one. I'll hang on to one of them. Swing, 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 and then swing if I get a trigger. Yeah, that's going to be the best move, I think. Because this will allow me to get 2 hits guaranteed versus, like, none at all. So we'll swing like this. No defensive. That's huge. We'll swing like this. Go get the trigger. I do not. Oh, that's so frustrating. Had I gotten a trigger there like he did last turn, I would have been in a really good spot. Especially if it was like a heal trigger, that would have been like super huge. Because then what I could have done was hit him again, force him to 3, then next turn ride into Azure Dragon. Potentially gotten the search off of Scarlet Bird for the last Azure Dragon dig, and then it would have been like super cool. So it's 2 more cards down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're officially 15 cards away from the soul. I think next turn, depending on how many grade 2s he calls, I will attack with Scarlet Bird first, just to dig more and try and get closer to the stack if I can. But let's see. I'm due for some triggers, so hopefully we can get a defensive this turn to try and survive. I will say if my opponent gets lucky enough, we will lose. But oh my gosh, is their hand just 4 PGs? Because if it is, that's scary. And there's the heal trigger. Dude, if we would have checked that last turn, we would be in such a good spot right now. But I'm not complaining. I'm just stating facts. I will take a heal trigger any day of the week. Okay. Let's see what my opponent's going to do now. I wonder if they're going to swing my Vanguard. Oh, they're going to use that. Okay, are they going to call... Okay, they're going to call that. Interesting. I guess they want to give their... Wait, actually, now I'm confused. I don't know why you would call that, but it's okay. Just to put it back, maybe? Oh, because you have that. Duh. I was like, he has no boosters. He's going to use Dan, get the Assault Squad, shuffle his deck, and then guarantee hit, even if he doesn't get a trigger here. So that makes more sense. If he gets a trigger here, I'm definitely scared. No Assault Squad. There's the heal trigger. He can't heal, but that's not good to see. Well, actually, it's fine. It's the same thing. He's gonna give it there, I guess. Does he not know that he doesn't hit us now? I'm cool with it. It's still just 1 more damage for me. Oh, maybe he's gonna want to not waste his effect, is what it is. Yeah. Now he's not gonna Soul Blast. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Ooh, good draw trigger, I guess. Okay. No grade 2s is not a happy sign for your boy here. I will tell you what. I might swing at these. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna swing at these. You know, I'm definitely swinging at them. The more I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, cool. So we get that, which is nice. Okay, we're gonna call this here. I'm going to call you over this. Retire. I think it's smarter for me to go for the stack dig this turn. So what I'm gonna do is swing like this. Swing like this. Yeah. If I get a trigger, restand this, and then swing like that, swing like that. Perfect. There's a trigger there. It's pretty nice. We put a grade 1 down there, I think. What that was. Finishing hold to restand this Assure Kaiser. And then we're gonna swing and then swing again. Push him to 4 damage. Try and dig 1 more time. I do have 2 heals though in the stack. But I mean, I'm gonna swing no matter what here. Because if I get the Azure Dragon in my hand, on the next turn I can push for a game, which would be, I think, the best move for sure. No Azure Dragon and no triggers. Wow, just 5 no triggers, which is actually kind of nice to see. Because that's a very good sign that our heal triggers are on top of our deck then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, cool. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, in these top 3 cards, in these top 5 cards, I have 2 heal triggers. One of them is in my stack, and one of the next 2 cards is a heal trigger. So even if my opponent finds a way to, attack us 3 times, we could easily 6th damage Miracle Heal, given what we just did. So that's actually super huge. We've possibly manipulated the 6 damage shield to the top of our deck, which is like kind of insane. Now I will say not having the Azure Dragon in my hand isn't really good for us in terms of our ability to win the game on the next turn. However, we know the stack, so I mean, I know that there's a trigger coming up no matter what in the next few turns. I also have a draw trigger left too. I have 1 draw trigger left and 1 heal trigger, so this could easily be a draw trigger or a heal trigger on top of the deck. Because I think we're only 2 cards away from the stack, and those 2 cards are triggers, so that's kind of huge. So there's the, you know, the PG. I think, yeah, there's no world where we lose if we get the 6 damage heal, so all we gotta do is get it. All we gotta do is get it. Sounds simple enough, right, team? Sounds simple enough. If he doesn't get the booster here, we win. If he does get the booster here, we lose. Oh, sorry, if he gets the booster and gets the grade 3 trigger, we lose. So he gets that. He did not get the booster, so I think there's no more where we lose now. As long as we get the 6 damage heal, which is there, please be there, Miss Splendor. You are the best card ever if you do. Appear. Oh, it's the draw trigger. The next card was the heal trigger. Oh my god, that's so frustrating. But yeah, guys, that's like a good example of like a bad matchup we have. Because like if they just get lucky enough, it does not matter how much advantage we gain. They will just aggress right through it. So Spike Brothers is not the most ideal matchup for this deck, but I definitely showed off kind of the strong points about the deck, and I think I was able to justify kind of what makes this deck super good in the meta right now. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this deck profile, even though this last game was a bit less desirable than other ones. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. I really enjoyed playing with this deck. Big shout out once again to my boy Rodney for originally creating the deck and letting me borrow his account so that way I can actually play it myself. You're legit an awesome dude, and I appreciate you. If you guys have any further questions about the list or want to suggest other roguish decks to me, please be sure to leave them down in the comments below. I would love to read them. Or even better, hop into my Twitch channel. I go live every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Pacific Standard Time in the mornings, and I would love to hang out with you guys and play this amazing game and hopefully answer your questions and give you guys some value. Definitely give this deck a try, you guys, if you haven't already. You might be pleasantly surprised by the outcome. But anyways, that'll do it for me. As always, I've been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, live well, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.